The RealFX collider target and collider source need to be used together, and we use them on our RealFX Smoke geometry. So we're going to drag our smoke geometry up into the scene tree, and let's just drag some type of image onto that as well. Any image that carries an alpha channel we can use. We're going to go into the image editor and then just change the default linear mapping to vertex. Once we do that, you can see now that we have a particle system. So we're going to go back into the built-ins. Within our container plugins and the RealFX folder, there is the collider source and target. So we need two geometries or containers up here for this to work. So we're going to go into our built-ins again, into our geometry, into the default folder, and we're going to use a cube. You could use a sphere as well. And let's just put a material on it here so that we can see the shading. We'll go into the cube and just make some adjustments here. Let's flatten it out, so we'll just adjust the size Y. We'll make like a floor or ceiling so we can spread our X out, and you can spread the Z out as well. Now let's just move our cube down towards either the top or the bottom, so we'll just slide it up towards the top here. So our particle is actually going to come up from the bottom and hit the ceiling here. Now we're going to go back into our container plugins here, and we need to think about which one goes on which container. The source is actually the source of what we want to hit. So this collider source is going to go onto the cube, and the collider target is our RFX Smoke. So once we have that, you may not notice a change depending where your two objects are and if they're intersecting or not yet. But if we come in here right now and just start to move our cube, you're going to see that it's going to start to affect the particles. So as we adjust this down, our particles are going to start bouncing here. Now it's just a matter of going in and adjusting everything. So first option here, we're going to go into our collider target, and what we have is a flag, and you can think of these as layers. So we have flag 1 active by default, and if we go into our collider source, we also need to make sure that flag 1 is active. This is telling it to work in conjunction with this flag, and flag 1 is just merely the naming convention to link them together. Within the collider target, you also have a bounce switch that is on by default, so you just want to make sure that that is on if you do want this bounce. Now within the collider source, we have an object type first that we can select. It's set to auto by default. Since we're using a cube here, we could also change this to box. So we'll just leave it on auto. Now we have a bounce amount here, so we can increase or decrease our bounce amount. And then we have a randomness as well. Now if we wanted to make more particles or adjust this a little bit, we could come into our particle generator then and start adjusting this to get a different effect with our particle. Now when using the collider source and the collider target, well, you'll just be aware that within the scene, it also adds a scene plugin here called the RFX Collision Manager. And here you have a choice of spheres or boxes. We have it set to boxes 1 since we have one cube within our scene tree here. So several adjustments that you can make within your source and target collider, depending what your particle system is and where your box or sphere is, you can get a lot of different results.